yeah. So thanks for being here. Thank you for letting me be here
No
and do
problem.
this.
Welcome to my dining room.
Yeah, we were talking about Angela moving into this place about a year ago, and how did you find this place? I mean, it's so tucked back away. Was it just on?
Well, we just decided one day to talk to a financial dude and see if it would be possible to get a house. And he's like, went through all the numbers, and he's like, I could get you in a house in a month. And he's like a magician the way he did everything. But they just showed us a bunch of houses. I think this was like the third one we looked at. The first one we really liked, but it was older, and like they took us in, and it was like renovated and it looked like amazing. But then they took us in the basement. It was one of those like unfinished, so it's like the dirt,
Yeah.
and like literally there was this beam across the floor, and it was like a beam and like a giant rock holding it up. Somebody
Holding
had-
the whole house.
That's what it looked like. I'm sure it's not, but it's like I wouldn't want to live in a house like that
Yeah.
because it just seems like more problems are to come.
Mm-hmm.
And I took my dad with me. He does construction and he knows all about that stuff. And he's just like, this isn't a good idea, you know? And it wasn't like the price they were asking was fine, but I just didn't want to buy something that I'd have to eventually put in like a bunch of money into, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, this one worked out. I'll have to show you the pictures of what it like used to look like. It just needed to be updated. We like the walls weren't this color, the floors weren't like this. It was just like the people who had it, they bought it, well they built it and they didn't do anything to it, you know.
So it was just old, just cosmetically needed updating.
Yeah, me and Kelly just there's like hardly any colors in here. It's just black, gray, and white, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we just had that theme throughout the whole house.
I mean, it's simple and clean.
Yeah.
Looks great. So when you're talking about buying this and putting money into it, or not wanting to put money into it, are you opposed to like buying a fixer upper house? Because that seems to be a hot thing now.
I mean, it's like been like thought about
Mhm.
because Tyler did it. He bought a house, fixed it up, and sold it. And I mean, it depends. I guess it depends. Every situation is different on what money you can make, but I don't know. I just rather worry about this and then build our own house in the future. You know what I mean?
Gotta get the land.
Yeah. Goddamn.
So the problem with the land, at least for me, is once you have the land, then you have to take care of the land.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, then you have to mow 2 acres of land every week. You know, do you want to do that? Or
Yeah, where my apartment was, where we lived together.
Mhm.
There's this piece of land right at the corner of the road.
Mhm.
And my cousin actually bought it, but he didn't build anything on it yet. And he has to have someone keep coming there to cut the grass and stuff. And if he doesn't, the neighbors get pissed off at him.
Do you have to have a special permit or something if you just buy land and don't do anything with it, or you just kind of?
I don't know. Like when me and Kelly talk about it, before we get like at a certain point, we're like, we have no idea what we're talking about. So when we want to do this, when we want to like buy land and look into building a house, and we're gonna have to sell this house, we just need to go and talk to the right people because we're just like guessing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seems like one of the hardest parts is to find the land right now. It's if you want it in a specific area.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're trying to stay close to
everything. Like originally I was like, let's just stay around here, but the more we looked, we're having trouble finding stuff. So if it's like 10 minutes away or 15 minutes away, I'd rather it though be closer to the shop, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to, because I'm already driving like 25 minutes or longer if it's traffic, you know?
Is that something that Kelly's opposed to? I mean, because she'd work. Forgot to mute that track.
No problem.
Yeah, so she would have to commute down.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys moved up closer to Dickson City area.
Yeah, I don't want to move like too close because I mean, Scranton, Dickson City, like I don't need to go there, but I don't
Mhm.
think she would mind if it was like 10 or 15 minutes because she used to drive like an hour to work
Oh, yeah.
when she was working a couple of years ago. But
Yeah.
I don't want to put her through that again.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, Jamie has to commute 30-ish minutes every day.
And isn't it like
And
a ridiculous time in the morning?
yeah, that she wakes up at 4, so I wake up at 4 just because it's just easier that way. And uh she has to leave for work at like just after 5. And yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean,
sucks.
I guess you might get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's been doing it for I think 2 years now, so she's used to it. I think she's just sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's like no matter what, it's still like 4 in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sick of it. I don't even work. So, crossing my fingers that she gets another job solely so that I don't have to wake up at 4 in the morning every day. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she'll find something. She
Yeah.
tells me about it, that she was looking for something the last time I tattooed her.
Mhm. And actually, that kind of segues into a nice thing is I feel like because you're tattooing now, I feel like you kind of unwillingly end up being people's therapists just because you just talk to people all
Oh,
day.
if they're getting tattooed for hours and hours, which I don't know like how they do, because I haven't gotten tattooed since I haven't gotten a real tattoo since before I started tattooing.
Really?
Like I've gotten like a 30-minute touch up or like a 5-minute joke tattoo,
Mhm.
but how people could just sit for hours and hours. Like a couple days ago I tattooed this girl's sternum and she sat for about 6 hours on her sternum.
Jesus
And usually
Christ.
a sternum tattoo they would like break up into 2 sessions,
Mhm.
but she is from Australia.
Okay.
And she came over. She's like she is going on vacation with her family in
Mhm.
America, and that was one of her stops was to come get tattooed. But so she kind of like had to finish it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yeah, as we were going, like I was like, just do what you got to do. Breaks aren't always the best, but if you need them,
Mhm.
we'll take them. But yeah, people if they'll talk to you, and I try to talk. Like in the beginning, I couldn't tattoo and talk at the same time, and now like I kind of like zone out, especially for like outlining. But when it gets to shading, I'm a little more able to talk to them. But
Mhm.
yeah, especially like people who keep coming back, like you just get to know, oh, like how's your job? How's the
Yeah.
dog? How's the cat?
Do people ever tell you really crazy stuff?
Um,
Like real heavy stuff that you just aren't sure how exactly to respond to it?
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there has been because like a lot of times tattoos could be like more personal,
That's true.
you know.
Yeah.
So if it's about a certain situation or something that happened, but yes, I guess it's hard to remember them all because you do so many tattoos, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I guess I am kind of like a therapist.
Therapy with pain included,
Yes.
physical pain. Yeah, the last time that I got tattooed was by you
Oh,
on my chest, and I cried.
the chest. I think the chest is probably one of the worst spots. I don't
Mhm.
have my ribs tattooed, but I have my chest and my stomach. And the closer they got to the ribs, it hurt more.
Yeah.
But I think the chest was worse than the stomach.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because there's no skin there, so it's all just there's no muscle there, so it's
Yeah,
all just kind of bone right through there.
I don't know. It seems like it doesn't even like I could tattoo someone and it's the thicker area, like a thigh or something, and it depends on the person. Like sometimes the spots you don't think hurt the worst, or the shin. I thought like when I tattoo people's shins, they
Mhm.
sit better through a shin than a calf tattoo,
Huh.
and the shin is just straight bone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I guess it's different for different people
Hmm.
too, because I know people that have said that foots don't hurt
Oh
or
no,
feet don't hurt, I
yeah.
should say, but other people say, that it was the worst tattoo they've ever had.
Yeah, I feel like
So
the feet. I don't have them, but it seems like it's just the feet and the hands when I think about it, it's just like a scratchy, like just because of how thin the skin is
Mhm.
there. Because I mean, that's what the hands felt like to me was like a scratchy, but I hardly remember.
Yeah. How long ago was that? Was you probably had those before
Yeah, I
before I
mean
knew you.
the webs in my fingers I got in the RV when Megan
Yeah,
was on
I
tour with
remember
us
that. Yeah,
because she did all our like little
our
tattoos.
wing tattoos.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she did the webs on me. But yeah, I think the last time I got tattooed was we did that convention when you texted me. We were in Richmond
Hmm.
this past convention. It was like a week ago, but we did it last year, and we were tattooing, and it was like I was done, but Tyler was still tattooing. It was like 1 a.m, and they don't really tell you to stop. Like you could tattoo as long as you want, but there was no one there. So like me, Tyler's apprentice Courtney, and one of our friends, he's from New York. His name's Richard. He's like, let's tattoo each other. Let's do like a tattoo for the convention. So he tattooed Courtney, and I tattooed him, and he tattooed me. But we did it kind of at the same time.
Oh God.
But and the rule was you dip the machine in the ink, and you're not allowed to dip in it again. So if you run out of ink,
You lose.
and that's what you're stuck with it. So
Oh
you're,
my God.
but it was just like it was a simple like they were like the initials for the convention. So he like is like RVA, and the
Okay.
A had a circle around it, like an anarchy symbol.
Uh-huh.
We tried to make it like as ridiculous as possible. Like he didn't have a banner for his booth.
Hmm.
When he drew up his banner, he used the corn font. So yeah, it was pretty ridiculous, and he didn't finish the complete circle around the A, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's on my leg. You can't really see it.
I don't know how tattooing works at all.
Mm-hmm.
So when you dip, theoretically, in my brain, it makes sense if you were to dip the is it
Machine.
the machine.
Don't say gun.
I don't know what the proper
Yeah, no, no.
terminology.
There'll be like memes online of like this is a tattoo machine, and then they'll say this is a tattoo gun, and it's like Rambo. Hold
That's the equivalent of people saying tats.
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't say gun. So in my brain, it makes sense to dip the tattoo machine, and the further you dip it in, the more ink it retains. For some reason, that's how I think it is.
Yeah. Like even me still like if there'll be times where I'm just like going through the motions and I don't dip it in enough, and I just like go to tattoo and there's nothing coming out, but yeah, but the thing is sometimes if you put too much on there, you just have it's a splatter of ink going everywhere, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of manage it and get used to everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know, he had enough to finish. I think I finished mine too.
What do you think about stick and pokes?
Well, whenever someone said that to me, I just thought it was like people do it in their house, but
Mhm.
I think there's actually like people doing it in shops now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know there's like it's not stick and poke, and I probably should know what it's called, but there is like if you ever see like artists who have like this big long thing, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I always see that. It always looks like they're doing crazy Japanese koi
yeah,
fish
that's
and
what it
stuff.
mostly is, Japanese, but it just like I imagine it takes a lot longer.
Mhm.
I was listening to this one dude on a tattoo podcast, and he's like, if I was able to using tattoo machines, this would have been like half the time. But yeah, stick and
Wow.
poke. I don't know. It's I don't really. I would never want a stick and poke tattoo.
Yeah.
And it's just if that's like their way of being a tattoo artist, then
Mhm.
I just don't really mess with it.
Well, I mean, what about people that don't tattoo that just want to fuck around and
Yeah,
get
no.
tattoos?
Just because in tattooing, like I've become so like about like cleanliness and being sanitary, and like you take like a blood pathogen test and you learn about all the diseases, and like you just
Mhm.
get like so freaked out about that stuff. So I imagine if you're doing stick and poke from a house and you're not trying to be a tattoo, like you're just doing it on your friends, like the possibilities of diseases, infections is just I don't want to have anything to do with that. And
Of
I
course.
and it's for me to have someone who got stick and poke tattoos and then come to get a tattoo from me if they got like something from that, there's always the risk there,
Yeah.
which is something like I am around. Like people fill out a consent form, but they could be lying. You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
Because it's scary to get like accidentally poked by a needle. You know what I
I'm
mean?
sure. Yeah.
And it happened to me once, and it scared the shit out of me. And like
Yeah.
it didn't like actually like stick in my finger or anything like that. And there was like I took the glove off, and there was nothing there. But I was still like that
Freaked
needle
out.
touched my glove, and I think it went through. So I had to go get all this blood work, and I mean, they were like, I don't think you need it, but if it'll make you feel more comfortable, it's like, yeah, let's do it. And I got like this ridiculous bill in the mail.
It's crazy how much a full blood panel costs.
Yeah.
Like usually just a normal blood test is just what it's like included with your
Yeah, I think with my
checkup or
insurance,
whatever.
it's like you get one free. It's like free if for like a physical. You know what I mean? But like that full panel, I think my insurance covered part of it, but it was like hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Which is like, I guess for a peace of mind.
Yeah.
To sleep at night.
Yeah, of course.
But it is like it's crazy. Like you have to like get blood work, and then you have to wait and go back. That's scary.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can't even imagine. If I was a tattoo artist, it would make me feel like I'm doing it less out of caution of the client and more just because I don't want to get fucked over with something.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta kind of like. I try to worry about both.
Of course,
I want them to get a great tattoo, but also like everything heals correctly. They don't have anything to worry about. Just because I don't think I've ever really had many problems with like healing. I just think sometimes if it's a person with their first tattoo or their first couple tattoos, they sometimes get a little like too overworked about like, because tattoos when they heal, they could look like really messed up. And sometimes just putting on too much ointment, just like when I got my first tattoo, I loaded it with ointment.
Yeah, I did too.
And it just it looked like all the colors were coming out of it. So of course if that happens, you're gonna freak out. But then like the only other thing is too, like once I tattoo you and you walk out my door and you touch a door handle and then you touch your tattoo, you don't know what was on that door handle.
That's true.
So it's really like you really need to take care of it, because I can't really help you anymore once you're out on your own. You know what I mean? But there is not exactly new, but we started using it about in February when we were doing a couple conventions. This stuff called like Sanaderm, and there's another one called Tegaderm, and there's one Second Skin where it's just like this clear plastic film. So I put that on after they get tattooed. They leave it on for like a day, change it, and then they leave that on for 5 days. So it's like completely covered the whole time, which is great because then you don't have to worry about getting in contact with anything.
Yeah, Jamie had that. You did that for her for her leg, and after I think it was the 4th day or something, it looked like she had little blood puddles inside of the thing because it was.
It all, I guess it all depends on you, like how much plasma or whatever leaks out. That's why you try to change it you do change it that first day, because that's when the most is going to come out. But I imagine like, because I know like tattoos on legs will just more is going to come out because you're like walking and putting pressure on, but sometimes too, if the person at work like you try to keep it on for the full 5 days. Like my brother, he came in from Pittsburgh and I tattooed him, and he was leaving the next day and I changed it, and he just changed it, and he went to work the next day, and he's like sweats a lot at work, and he just had a hard time keeping it on.
Really?
Huh.
That's crazy. So I'd be fine with that because I don't sweat.
No,
So
yeah, I don't really sweat either.
I just feel like having something on there like that, it would make me feel weird about pulling it off because it feels like you're gonna pull the
Oh
tattoo
yeah,
off with it or
I've had
something.
a couple of people not want to use it because of that, but
Mhm.
I've figured out just like peeling up a little piece and well, I have like the squirt bottle, but if someone was to do it at home, you just go in the shower and like you let like the water seep in and you kind of like push your fingers along it and it just seems like it comes off a lot easier. But I just tell people if it's gonna hurt a little bit to peel it off, would you rather deal with that pain for like a few minutes and then your tattoo heals in half the time? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it definitely does heal in half the time.
I think it heals faster. I mean, I
Really?
never used it on myself,
Mhm.
but I've seen it the way tattoos heal with it, and especially with people with color. It just I feel like holds it a lot better.
Really?
hmm
Huh. I know that's called Tegaderm.
Sanoderm is like the tattoo like company, I guess.
Okay, Sanoderm.
But Tegaderm I think is more like medical. Like I think it's originally I think meant for like burns. Like
Okay.
at the conventions, you just if you finish your when you finish your tattoo, you could just send them to the Sanoderm booth and they could bandage them for you. But I wish I could like go to like a Sanoderm seminar if there was even one, so they could just like this is how this works. This is all this. I mean, I try to just I went on their website. They have like videos and stuff, but it'd be cool to get like some kind of class on it.
Yeah. So it is a tattoo company that's
I think Sanoderm is like the the company for tattoos.
so they just saw what
Yeah.
Tegaderm was doing and said, maybe we should try that with tattoos and
Yeah, don't quote me on that, but it just that's what it seems like.
yeah. So you were talking about conventions.
Mhm.
How I thought that conventions worked as just having like one artist from a shop, or is it the whole shop guests at a
Um,
convention, or is it
it's
just
it's
kind of
it's kind of just like a you could get like a single booth would could fit like 1 to 2 people, or you could just get or you could get a bigger booth. Um, or you could get multiple booths.
so it just
But
depends on what you want to do?
yeah, usually it was just me and Tyler. But we have one in Pittsburgh. I think it's in March. And Courtney, Tyler's apprentice, she's been doing tattoos. So there's no like, well, at least in Pennsylvania, there's no like, here's a certificate. You're no longer an apprentice. You're a tattoo artist. It's kind of just like your tattoos look good. I just go by when I started giving my cut to the shop type of thing. Because I was doing tattoos while I was an apprentice. Like, luckily, I had a friend that just let me put tons of tattoos on his legs,
Mhm.
and he got a lot of good tattoos, and he was really cool and just picked out some cool stuff. But I just like I said, there's no like I think there's actually like tattoo schools now and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But yeah, there's nothing that says you're no longer an apprentice. But anyway, she's like I personally feel that she's ready, to tattoo at a convention, and I think she'll do good. So we're thinking about having her, but then we would need another person to have because the booths would be you need 4 for like a double booth. So, but yeah, I guess you could have as many people as you want,
Wow.
but you have to have you just split the cost of the booths. You know what I mean? Because you have to pay it. That's it. That's pretty much what you pay for is your booth, your hotel, and if you need to fly.
Mhm. Actually, you touching on having a certificate is what I was gonna ask next. Is that, or what I was gonna bring up next is because it's insane to me that I don't know what states require a certificate or a kind of like a diploma, if you
hmm
will. But Pennsylvania does not. Like I could just go and be like, I'm a tattoo artist.
Yeah, you could just. I think there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and I think depending on the person, like I would never like when I was apprenticing. Like I told Tyler, I was like, I'm not like trying to rush this. I'm not trying to like skip any steps. Like I want to be apprentice. I want to go through what I'm supposed to go through, and when I'm ready, that's when I'm no longer apprentice. But yet, I think I fully would say my apprenticeship was about like a year, um, which I think is a good amount of time. But some people take longer, and some people could do it sooner. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't unless they're I should have got one, but I don't. There, I know I took, like I said, I took like a whole blood safety test.
Mhm.
Um, which even like conventions require you to have that. But yeah, there's nothing like that. So if you want to get an apprenticeship, just let me know.
It's just yeah, it's crazy to me. But I guess the fact that you wanted to take your time and do all that kinda says a lot about being
Yeah, like
passionate
I
about it.
I just would feel like really bad to not know what I'm doing and
Mhm.
permanently marking someone for the rest of their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some people don't care though. I know that there's terrible tattoo artists that should not be tattooing that
Yes.
do.
Yeah, there is. And like I think you learn like a lot, like not just the tattooing part. Like I felt like I had to learn a whole different way of drawing. You know what I mean? Because like the way I was drawing just cannot. Some stuff just can't work on skin. Like you have to take into consideration like how that's gonna look in years from now. You know what I mean? And had to like limit the amount of lines sometimes or create stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot of like drawing and learning the whole like being clean side of it. Um, Tyler was never like, I know I've heard like, he wasn't like, oh, you gotta clean my car and stupid stuff like that, but,
Mhm.
I just tried to learn as much as I could. Um, but now like I like going, I think it'd be cool to like guest spot in the shops so I could like see what other tattoo artists do because I've only been with Tyler. So
Yeah.
like I only know what Tyler does and like I love Tyler's tattoos. Like that's why like I feel like when I see Tyler's tattoos and like how clean he outlines, I'm like I want my outlines to be like that. So it
Mhm.
kind of like pushes you to do better.
Yeah.
Um but at conventions it's a little hard to like watch other artists because you're like separated at the booth, but you're like tattooing nonstop, or at least that's what me and him were. I, like I said, we were there past when it was supposed to close, and
Mhm.
just like tattoo, there's no break.
Wow. So you just have people have can people walk up and do
Yeah,
that?
that I made appointments beforehand, but I did get a bunch of people that I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't have time.
Mhm.
But I think it'd be cool to just only book appointments on like Friday and Sunday and leave because Saturdays are usually the busiest. And
Mhm.
like you could like what I did was I had like a bunch of pre-drawn stuff set on my table and they just pick them out, so I don't have to worry about
That's
drawing
cool.
anything.
Yeah. Do you prefer doing flash stuff? I mean, would that be considered flash?
It would be Flash, but it's not like the stuff
Traditional
I drew
flash.
wasn't like small Flash. It was like
Okay.
I want to do like larger pieces, not
Mhm.
like a sleeve or anything, but it's gonna take like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
But I've also think it would be cool to throw in like some smaller stuff,
Mhm.
just because it's like fast, like I'm fast, so like if I was able to like do a bunch of small tattoos, it's fine.
Mhm. Do you find that you like it better when people are kind of open with what you tattoo on them? Like if someone comes in and just says, "I kinda like this, I kinda like this. Can you just make me something that's"
Yeah, I mean that's probably always the best when they're like, just
Yeah.
do whatever. But it also isn't always the best when there's no direction.
Mhm.
Because like if they were like, do whatever you want, it's still how do I know what you like? Because
That's true.
I'm I'm gonna drop skull and roses or something like
Mhm.
with spiders coming out of his face or something. Maybe this girl doesn't want that.
Yeah, some girl that should probably have flowers or something
Yeah,
else.
and I love flowers too, like, if I could just do, like, flowers and I like doing, like, specific types of mandalas or anything, like, creepy, and I do a lot of, like, Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas type stuff, and I like it now even more because after you do so many, you have to like figure out different ways to do them. So like I'm not gonna do the same zero or the same jack on every single person. You know, I have to not just put them in a different pose, but maybe I'll put like a crack in their face or, you know, have spider webs coming off of somewhere just because I don't want to put the same thing on everybody, you know.
Mhm.
But it's cool to like have some creativity and not just, you know, copy the exact one you see online, you
Yeah.
know. I want to figure out a way to make it a tattoo and not just this image I found
Mhm.
from the website.
Yeah. Do you still draw a lot in your free time? I mean, is that
I mean, I draw, but it's like I'm drawing for my appointments.
okay?
Um, because like when you're like booked, so like I'm booked like 2 months out, but it's like it feels like you're booked out forever because it just like rolls over, you know?
Mhm.
Like it just catches up, so it doesn't stop. I'm trying to limit myself though if I'm doing like larger pieces to just one large piece a day, try instead of trying to do like two pieces, like a large one and then another one. Cause like not that I can't do two in a day, but it's like my first one, if it's bigger, I always run behind. And then I always have to be like, hey, could you like hang out for like an hour or go get a coffee or something? And I just
Mhm.
feel bad doing that.
Yeah.
And it is like I feel like lately my tattoos have a lot more going on. So it's like a little bit I don't want to be rushed, you know?
Of course.
But I would like some time to just draw up some stuff that I want to draw, you
Mhm.
know? So like if I do get caught up on some stuff, I could just, you know, sit there and draw some things. Like that's why like I was telling my days off were like Sunday and Monday.
Mhm.
So I just try to like look at my tattoos for the week and try to get like maybe like two or three drawn up on those days. So I'm kind of like ahead, but sometimes it's not the best because you're kind of like, oh, I'm just going to draw this up and get ahead when I need to be more focused on the design and like not rush, you know what I mean? So sometimes when you are like tattoos in 2 days and you feel like rushed, some of like the best ideas will come out, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But, you know, it would be nice to have some more free drawing time, but I'm still like only tattooing like I think it'll be 5 years in January. So
Wow.
Um, I don't know if that's considered long or if I'm still in the beginning stages, you know?
I mean, it seems like, at least from my standpoint, it seems like forever. I
Mhm.
mean, it seems like it's yeah, it seems like it's just you've been tattooing forever.
Tyler's had been tattoo I've only been tattooing, like, not even half the time as Tyler too. He's been
Yeah.
tattooing, like, a little over 10 years, I think.
Wow. And the fact that you're booked out as far as you are has to be comforting, at
Yeah,
least
it's
to
it's definitely comforting, but I have noticed that, like, when you're booked further out so, like, this person made the appointment 2 months ago, and when it comes to their appointment, it's like not that they forgot, but shit comes up,
of course.
so someone needs to reschedule or something, which is a little frustrating, but you try to either fill it up or take a day off.
Yeah. That's gotta be more frustrating for the person getting tattooed because then it's like, now they have to wait for another 2 months to get tattooed again.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's cancellations and people rescheduling happens all the time, so sometimes you luck out and you get to fill in someone else who had to reschedule,
Mhm.
but it's nice when it doesn't happen, just because when it does, I'm like, I don't wanna take a day off, I want a tattoo, you know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
try to fill it up, but if not, that could be my day to draw, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Your schedule, did you make that yourself? Did you deciding to work Sunday or have Sunday and Monday off, is
Th
that just
that's just the way I think a lot of shops do it unless they're I think I've noticed shops with, like, more artists are open, like, more, like, they're either open every day except Sunday, or they're open every day, but they have, like, certain artists take off certain days, but that's just the way we've been doing it since we opened because been there. I was actually at Tyler at the other shop that he was working at before that for like a month or two, and then he opened this shop. It took like a month or so, but yeah, that's just been the schedule. Um, but if anything, like I said, I would just change it to maybe doing like a couple of days where it's just a big tattoo and nothing after.
Yeah. So you have a little bit of time before or after to do
Yeah,
whatever.
because like even like with bigger tattoos too, like not just the tattooing of it, but like the stencil part of it sometimes just takes a little bit. Like, even like Jamie's tattoo, how it like she got the one on her shoulder, like wrapping that around the whole entire shoulder and coming onto the back. Like it actually went on a lot faster than I thought, you know. But like I outlined like a whole sleeve months and months ago, and that just took like an hour at least itself to just get everything put together on there.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have to cut that up and put it on in patches?
I mean, like, I guess it depends on the design, but that one was because, like, sometimes, like, I feel with like flowers, like you could easily like place those and draw in like branches and leaves and stuff like that. But there is some, stuff that's just like it needs to go together. Um, I I'm not at that point where I feel like comfortable drawing on a whole entire sleeve, you know what I mean? But that might be the best way to make it flow really good. But yeah, I'm still trying to find that perfect marker to draw on skin. It's just I feel like the Sharpies, they work sometimes, but the tips just don't last for me. It's just not fine enough, you know?
There's a $1 billion idea right there for you.
Like I know there are some that work. I just haven't, because I think they use what surgeon use, like the surgical markers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I found like a couple and I tried them and they just die so fast.
Yeah, they suck on skin.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about them, but it seems like anytime you draw anything, it's like a dot on your skin and it just disappears. The ink just goes away.
Yeah, like even like the Sharpies, like you can get them to work. Like I've seen like tattoo artists post like ridiculous amount like tattoos drawn with Sharpies. And it's cool to see how they like start with the lighter colors and like go over it with a darker color to clean it up and then another one. But yeah, if I could make a stencil and put it on and it works, then I'd rather rely on the stencil.
Yeah. Just cleaner, you think?
Cleaner, lasts longer, because like in the beginning when I was tattooing, that was like one of the scariest things. My stencil's gonna come off. But now I don't know what it is. I think why wouldn't I just wipe away from the stencil so it doesn't get smeared? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It's just little things you learn, you know?
Yeah. So do you still do graphic design stuff?
Last year I was doing more, but this year I haven't really done much. I think the last stuff I did was for you guys. I think I did some stuff for Warped Tour. Before, like last year I was still doing, I don't know if you remember, I would do these ridiculous designs for this company from like another country. But yeah, that guy was just like nonstop having me do these designs. And he's just really good. Like, here's a design, do design, approve it, pay. Here's another one. You know what I mean? But yeah, this year not too much, which is fine when you're tattooing nonstop. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you probably don't have a whole lot of time.
Yeah, like it was nice when you like, all right, I'll do this design, and it's just some extra money. You know? But yeah, if it wasn't for like the graphic design stuff, I don't know. Like, cause that's the way I did graphic design was like, I wasn't doing it all on my computer, you know, especially I was like hand drawing everything and then just scanning it in. So I think that helped me a lot, especially for like line work.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. And I also feel like that probably helped in transitioning you as well, right? Going from.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, I did have to like change the way I was drawing stuff. Cause like with graphic design and t-shirts, like there was that period where people wanted those like ridiculous like designs where it's just like tons and tons of line work and stuff like that. And then there is stuff where it's just like lettering, you know?
Mhm.
But yeah, that definitely helped me because it was, like I said, there's like, it's weird because there was like the drawing tablets that you would hook up to your computer, and that's what like a lot of graphic designers would use. And
Mhm.
I bought one, like, I bought it 3 separate times and sent it back 3 times because I just couldn't get the hang of it. And the last one I bought, it's still just sitting in my basement. And because I just was like, drew it on tracing paper, scanned it in, and then just live traced my drawing in Illustrator. But now, I mean, up until like last year, I was still like for tattoos, like drawing on paper. But now, like, I know some people have different feelings about it, but the iPad is just crazy
That's
what
what I
I
was
could
gonna
do.
say that too. It's that do you have an iPad?
Hmm.
You do everything on there now?
Yeah, it's just like I feel like I have more room to, like, I guess, experiment. Like, maybe if I just adjust this flower or turn this, and if I'm dealing with like a small space, will it look weird if I like move this in? If I was to do that on paper,
You have to redraw the whole thing.
yeah, or I just erase a hole through the paper and start all over,
Yeah.
But it's just, and it's faster as far as like, getting stuff done. And it's perfect for a convention because you don't really have the room to draw. So if you need to draw, you just throw the iPad in your lap and start drawing.
Yeah.
Um, I've become like super comfortable with like the pen and the response. So, and I feel like I've like learned, like, I'm like I learned a lot of through with the iPad, like as far as like what you could do with it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then I was doing, like, last year when I was doing shirts, I was using that too.
Okay.
So it was cool to do what I was doing for graphic design on my iPad too. So there's just so much you could do with it.
Super versatile, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't want one, but at one point I did want one
Mhm.
just because I thought that the drawing thing was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you could do like Photoshop stuff on it too. I tried to do like different clothing stuff too, and everything works. It'll take like Photoshop files and stuff like that too. So, and
That's
then
cool.
there's sometimes where I'll need to do something on my computer, so I'll like send the PSD file to my computer, and it's
That's
back and
cool.
forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's super easy to
Hmm.
switch. That's
And for some
awesome.
reason, my MacBook is always messed up. Like, I feel like I just want to take it to somewhere and have them like start it from scratch. But like the iPad never gets messed up. It's always super fast.
Mhm. Was your laptop old?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
that's
it's from,
that could be
I mean,
why.
it's not like the super old ones, like the thick white ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I had it when I was in the band. So
Yeah.
it's pretty old.
I feel like I want a new one just for the sake of getting a new one, but I
Hmm.
don't need a new one because it just still runs. So
Yeah. Yeah. Mine just, I used to bring it with me to the shop, but now I just leave it. I never use it unless, like I said, I need to do something random on there.
yeah. Speaking of the band, people that are listening to this, I know that you uh are a lot of people actually requested that you were a part of this experience. So
Yeah. I got tagged in some things.
yeah. So it's cool.
Hmm.
It's cool to have you here. Um I guess I mean I don't even know where to start because like we were talking about a little bit earlier, I don't even know. I mean what the last thing people know of you. I mean, as far as the band goes, I
Is
mean,
what I probably posted when I left the band.
yeah,
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I'm not saying what I think what I said and what we all said because I think we both left on like good terms.
yeah,
I think it wasn't that we were making anything up. It was true. But I
hmm,
just think like it's been like 7
yeah,
years.
hmm,
So you kind of like figure things out. You figure out what wasn't working and what was your feeling at the time.
hmm,
So I think I did get things figured out and maybe thought of like 7 years is a while. So like for me to
Of course.
remember everything is kind of a little blurry, you know?
Mhm.
But yeah, I know it was it wasn't like something I wanted to do,
Mhm.
but to leave and not have things get worse, I think was kind of like I had to.
Yeah.
But
You were touring in the band before I was in the band, and I mean, what was it like to go from touring for X amount of years to just not
yeah, I mean,
anymore?
I know like in the very beginning, you obviously weren't touring nonstop, but you have to
Mhm.
start somewhere.
Yeah.
So like realistically, when talked to Chris, I was still in high school. So
Mhm.
like I remember it was like I was in a band that wasn't really like we were just playing shows, and Chris was in a band that was playing shows, but they were a little more well known. So, but I remember in high school, like I knew I wanted him and me should be in a band. So like I'd walk around in the hall and I'd see him, give him a nod or something like that. So there was this one fair this band I was in played, and we were playing this song by Blindside. We were playing a cover by Blindside, and he was coming up to do guest vocals. And we did a song or whatever. And then after the set, I met him behind the stage, and I don't know what we said, but it was pretty much, I played drums, and he was singing and playing guitar at the time. We should start a band.
Mhm.
So from then, I was still in. I think he's a year older than me, so I was in high school, and he just graduated. So I was in 12th grade or whatever. So, I mean, from then on, like, I was with him, So to go from it just kept going and going. But you know how the band is. Even, like, when you came in, we were still, like, it just you go as high it kept going. I feel like you guys are still going, like, up and up. But there was those, like, shitty times,
Of course.
with the shitty tours and
Mhm.
getting your hopes up and things don't happen.
Mhm.
Um So yeah, you're still dealing with all of that. So it was a while. It's hard to say how long, but since I left. Um, but I think like when I left it was well before I left the band, but that period like I needed like to be in a routine. I needed to like stop leaving so I could figure things out
Mhm.
because I think I figured out that this isn't the main reason probably, but it was one of the factors of why I was like feeling the way I did was I don't remember why I remember this, but it was in Florida. It might have been at tour manager Josh's house,
Okay.
but maybe it wasn't because maybe he didn't have a scale on his house. But I stepped on a scale and I was 140 some pounds. And as someone with my height and age and all those whatever, BMR, BMI,
BMI. Mhm.
um, I should have been like the range from close to 170. So I was really underweight,
Mhm.
and I was like playing drums and playing guitar. We like takes a lot of energy.
Mhm.
It's like pretty much high intensity cardio sometimes.
Yeah, I would say drums more for sure.
Yeah. So for someone to be like underweight and being so picky on eating, like I was eating less than 1,000 calories a day. Cause I remember just getting those steamable vegetables
Yeah,
and like
I remember
that's what
that.
that's what we would eat,
Uh-huh.
or there'd be like warm Chef Boyardee or something
Mhm.
like that. But at the point where the last tour I did, I think was Europe. So like that was even worse because
Mhm.
either everything has curry on it or I was like couldn't read it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, picky, and
Mhm.
it's really crazy, but I remember just going to a convenience store and buying a pack of gum and just chewing on that to just like get through until I find something because it's crazy that I was pretty much contradicting what the band stood for because we're all about, being yourself and not caring what anyone else think.
Mhm.
And I was so worried about what I looked like. So I think why when I played the drums and I felt like so weak, like it felt like a video game when you keep tapping the button to like
Mhm.
get the meter up.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't get just enough for my feet to go fast enough or my arms to go fast enough,
Okay.
you know? So it just was like, I think the fact of like being so, not having enough energy to do that just played a role in me just being bummed out and why am I should be able to do this,
Mhm.
This is what I'm supposed to do. So I just think I needed to figure that out. And luckily, like when I did leave the band, I did go to like a nutritionist for about a year
Mhm.
and she helped me get back on track. But I don't know, I think that played a part in it, like as far as like just not being happy with the way I was playing.
Of course.
And it sucks when like that happens because that's what you do. Like that's like you play like a half hour, 45 minutes. Like that's really what I should be able to do because I was doing it forever,
Mhm.
and yeah, I just don't know how I could have been like not able to realize that at the time. But I think I was just so worried about because the band like it's the music, but like there's a specific look with you guys. You know what I mean? Like not many people do that.
Yeah.
And I guess I just didn't want to be the fat guy in the band.
Is that where that started from? Or was there a defining moment where you kind of
I don't know, cause like before I started playing music, like in high school, I was like 250 pounds. Like I was like a big kid,
okay.
and then I lost a lot of weight in around like 10th grade, and then I knew I just didn't want to be that again.
Mhm.
Um, but I was doing it extreme. Like I wasn't like throwing up or anything. I was just straight up just like wasn't eating,
Yeah.
or eating minimal
Mhm.
and not knowing that whatever I was eating was probably being burned off from playing the drums.
Mhm.
Like I didn't need to work out with you behind the bus,
Yeah.
because I wasn't trying to be a bodybuilder. I
Mhm.
just wanted to be small, skinny,
Yeah.
and I was getting my cardio every day.
I think that it's hard to really, I guess, realize the way that you are about certain things or the way that you think or the way that you're doing things because you're just in the moment.
Hmm.
You just are like, well, this is what I'm doing. So
Yeah, especially because like that last like couple months with this, like well, even before that, like it's always like, you know, like you said, in the moment. When we were in Europe, we were doing like interviews and photo shoots and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So you kind of just, get caught up in things.
Mhm.
But yeah, the last tour was a little rough because I think I saw it coming. Um, but I think transitioning from that and then, like I said, getting a routine and figuring out, you you have more freedom to, you could eat the foods you want and do the things you want now because
Mhm.
I'm home, and I
Of
go to
course.
work, which is like not like a knock on you or the band because, you know, there's look at you, like people could do this and they get like their own routine on the road.
Mhm.
But I guess it's just like sometimes it's not for everyone.
Well, and I think that people forget that everyone has their own issues,
Mhm.
and I mean, I don't think anybody outside of people that I know this, but I've been dealing with health issues for the better part of the last probably 7 years, just digestive issues and all sorts of that kinda stuff. So,
Yeah, I live with you and I didn't even know that.
well, this was
Oh,
after
okay.
after I had moved out and, um, yeah, it was just this whole ordeal that's just been an ongoing snowball thing. It's starting to get under control now, but it was, yeah, it was hard. So, I understand it in a way because I feel like a lot of what you dealt with was mental, where
Mm-hmm.
mine was just kind of I'm dealing with a physical
Yeah.
ailment, but
And
still.
like, it's like sometimes you could be like, well, it's mental. And like part of you wants to be hard on yourself. And you could be like, well, I should be able to control that. I should be able to just be like, get your shit together, you know, eat so you're not starving and and you get like the energy and the power back that you need because like I remember this one picture I saw. I just got tattooed by Tyler, and he like took pictures of my arms, and they just look like so tiny.
Really?
Like, yeah, like what happened? Because like I remember, like before that, as a drummer, like your arms are just like naturally bigger, and
Mhm.
like I just remember seeing like videos of just I was like, wow, my arms look like too big. Especially because if you're like wearing like a tank top as like but yeah, like to see it like I just remember seeing that too when I like was kind of like, yeah, I need to fix something.
Was I mean, were you aware that there was an issue before we kind of had a talk and there was the separation there, or
I don't know if I knew that that was the problem. I think I knew that like I just felt like I couldn't like play like I used to play, but I didn't know what the reasoning was. Like I
okay.
didn't know if I just, started to suck. But I just I when we started and then from then on, like I would play my drums like every single day. But my old house, like I had this big room, that's where we practiced. But my drums were always there. So I just play every single day. Um and then like we would change practice spots, so it gets harder to play every day. So I just didn't know if I wasn't able to practice enough or I was losing. And then like the band was just getting bigger, so I don't know if like I would lose sight of that and just be caught up in the other stuff. Um, but yeah, I think I didn't know. And like I said in the beginning, like I'm not saying like that is the sole reason why. I think a part of me like just was tired of leaving all the time.
Mhm.
Like I said, some people could, and just some people can't. Like some people want to come home, and like that app Time Hop where you could like see
Yeah.
posts.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that app would come up while I check in on my phone, and I was like, man, I seem like a dickhead.
Why?
Because I would be like, oh, I'm in whatever now, but can't wait to come home. It's like, why wouldn't you just like be happy with what's going on right now? You're in like a different state or a different country, but
I'm guilty of that as well. It's just I'm in a different country, but it's like all I wanna do is go home, and
yeah,
I think that that's normal.
yeah. I mean, maybe when I was looking at those, it was like the end of the tour, and by the end of the tour, you're ready to come home.
Yeah, you hate everyone.
But
And then yeah.
I think it's too like with the band, like you guys will play, and like if you do like your meet and greet, whatever, but it's like you have so much free time too, or there's just like so much time like before we played, or like and I guess for someone who's like dealing with like the whole like because when you are worried about like what you eat, if you like aren't busy doing something, you want to eat but you don't want to eat.
That's all you think about.
Yeah, so like when you're like bored and just sitting in the bus, or you're like, if you don't have something to do to take your mind off of it,
Mhm.
you're just you want to go into the snack drawer or something like
Mhm.
that.
Of
but
course.
but I just like I said, I mean, even now, like I'm at like a normal weight and I'm able to manage it. Like I'm able to like splurge here and there, but I just know like what I can do and what I can't do. And I don't even like, I mean, I like to work out, but I just know what I need to do to keep my weight at a certain point. Whereas like it's hard on tour because you don't, there's a fridge in the bus, but I'm not going to load that fridge up with all my groceries when you have to
Yeah.
stay with like 6 or 7 other people
Mhm.
and even more sometimes. Um, But yeah, it's hard to remember everything, but I think that just made me, more bummed out and unhappy. And you shouldn't be, you should be happy. So if I wasn't happy and that was making everyone else around me, bummed out, and like to like play a show and like know I messed up and then come back to see like the guys pissed at me is like the worst feeling ever, especially Chris. All I could really remember is, well, I can remember probably tons of stuff, but as far as this situation was the last tour I was on, which was in, I think, Europe. I can't remember if it was the Europe headliner or if it was that Europe one with like Betraying the Martyrs, and I don't know if there was other bands on it, and there's no way you're gonna remember because you like did a million tours after that.
I have a really shitty memory, so
But yeah, I know it was in Europe, and I know
yeah, I remember it being Europe for sure.
I know we had like that like Sprinter van where we were all just chilling in there, so it was like rough, like being in there, and then like I said, knowing like something was wrong, because that was after you guys did the first headliner and I wasn't on it. So that was like a little rough, but like when you guys came back, well, when we were practicing, like everything seemed okay. Like we were practicing, songs were coming out fine, but yeah, I just had this feeling like as every show went by, like I don't think this is gonna work out.
And that's got to make you more self-conscious about what you're doing, and then it's going to make you play worse because then you're more nervous.
Worrying about it, like not just going out there and playing and having fun and just you've been all these songs and stuff, but yeah, worrying about it, it's just like you're on eggshells.
Yeah, I think that everyone knew that something was going on with you. I just to everyone else, I think it just seemed like you were kind of mentally preoccupied somewhere else, and I think that's what we knew, that there was something like, I feel like something's wrong, but I mean, there's not anything wrong. I don't, it was hard to,
and that's the thing, like what was I worried, like what was I preoccupied, but that it definitely, like I could see it, well, not but like as like time went on, like after I left, like I just like realized like this and that, and I just think stuff like that could happen, and you could either fix it, but if you aren't able to fix it, you need to like end it before it gets bad.
Yeah.
And I knew you guys would be able to find someone, especially since someone filled in for me. But yeah, I was just glad that we could all still be cool with each other. You know? I mean, you guys played a show and came to my wedding the next day. So
that's true.
You came to the actual like wedding. I thought you were gonna make it just to the reception, and then because like I remember I would have like be invited to weddings and be like, yeah, I'll come to the wedding, but I might have to go to work for the reception. And my mom or Kelly would be like, no, you're the wedding. They just want you to go to reception. Like I was like, isn't that like the most important part?
That's what I thought too.
But I guess like now having a wedding, like you need head counts and you need to know what they want to eat, and that's where the party and all that stuff. But I think it's different depending on who's getting married. If it's someone you don't know, but your girlfriend or your wife knows, is not as exciting. But I tried to like make it fun for everyone, know. But it was cool to see all you guys at the ceremony.
Yeah, it was cool to be there. And I feel like that's another thing that people don't know, is that you got married in this span of time.
Yeah, it's been like a year. And it's pretty cool.
Was that like a long time coming type thing? Because I know that you guys had dated previously.
Yeah, she was like my first girlfriend.
Okay.
In high school. And we were together for years, and then Just like for me to go on tour and for her to go to school like an hour away or so was just hard, especially because my vehicle was the van. So like
Okay.
for me to at the at that time like didn't have all the money to just put gas in a 12 passenger van, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess, but we still like kept in touch and stuff like that. So she was always the one that if I did ever meet anyone else between then, that I would compare them to.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it
So in
would.
that sense, you knew,
Yeah,
you had an idea that.
yeah, and like we we just I guess connect and get along, and she's so cool with me as far as like with tattooing. Like I'll work and I'll come home and I'll draw, and it sucks that sometimes we just can't go out or do this or do that, but she's just like understands, and she works just as hard as me.
Mhm.
But yeah, the wedding, that was great. That was cool. And like a lot of people like when I did get married, they're like, "Oh, it's not even that different, is it?" But I honestly feel like there is like a different feeling.
Really?
Like I feel like even though like you love this person and you were together, like to be like that's my wife, and I mean we're on paper too legally and stuff
Mhm.
like that, but it's just like I just feel like there's more of a connection, like she really is my family now, stuff like that.
Mhm. So it feels more, yeah, like you said, more like she's a part of your family
It's
and
more forever.
yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, we got a cat together, got a house together, got on health insurance together.
It's the real deal now. So what's the next step? You guys bought a house and
Well, I mean, I guess some people the next step would probably be a kid, but
oh yeah.
but I think ever since we've been talking about this house thing, like building a new house,
Mhm.
I think that would be cool to do, but I don't think that's in what she wants to do first. But neither of us are like rushing into it.
Mhm.
I also like I'm not against having a kid, but I don't want to, but I don't want to be like old when I have the kid. And I'm already like 31, so if it's gonna happen, it's gonna be sooner than later.
Yeah. So that's something that you're not opposed to.
No, I'm not against it, but if it didn't happen, I'm not gonna cry about it. But
It's
I
always
know I like you both of you need one. I can't be like, oh,
of
she
course.
wants a kid. I'm gonna no. I think about being cool to just walking around with my kid, and
Mhm.
maybe I could teach him to be a tattoo artist, or I want my kid to do whatever they want,
Mhm.
but it'd be cool to point them in a cool direction and whatever they choose to make them learn it the right way.
Of course. Yeah. I guess the scary thing for me is I am always afraid that what's gonna happen with the world? Do I want to bring kid into the
That's
world?
that's the one thing I was thinking about a couple of months ago is how would I feel about sending my kid to school? Not like just like there was that period where there's just like shootings all the time.
Mhm.
Like it's scary.
Yeah.
So the idea of like not sending them to school and homeschooling them, I guess it would suck to like not have interaction with other kids, but I guess that's a decision you kind of have to think about now.
Yeah. I guess time will tell depending on if you if you end up having a kid or not.
We joke about because um, my cousins, they all have kids,
Mhm.
and my dad, and he has a twin sister. None of them had twins yet. So,
So you might be the lucky one. That would be
yeah, that would have been
that'd be a surprise.
a big surprise.
You go in maybe one and then end up with two. Like, well, here goes nothing, I guess.
You're gonna have to build a bigger house.
Yeah. Yeah, you might want to wait on building the house until you figure out how many kids you might have.
Come on, Rick.
You'll be the lucky one that has
Come
triplets or
on.
something.
No. Well, I did listen to your one podcast how you were talking about how you don't like haunted houses.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And I don't like them either.
you don't?
Like, I went to one when I was younger, very young. I went to the one, it was in like Hershey Park, and it scared me so much. Like, it was the one where it moves on a cart, and I laid under the seat the whole time because I was way younger. And then I tried to go to a haunted house, like maybe like at around sometime I was in the band. We all went to one, and I chickened out at the line. Like, I left. Like, something happened. So now I'm going to the one in Florida, the Disney, the Universal. So I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
That's so the only thing that I don't like about those ones in particular is when people walk around and follow you. I hate that.
Yeah, like, I don't want anyone to touch me. If I get scared, I get scared. But I've never been to it. Did you ever go to it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I imagine it's like there's the site, and because it's like Universal, like I imagine it's pretty like top notch, like
Yeah,
what they
it
do.
is.
So I think like part of seeing that will be just maybe take the whole being scared away, just like seeing like how much work and if there's a artsy side of it, or just to see things I recognize because they're doing a lot of like movies I've seen and stuff like that. But yeah, this will be my like debut at haunted houses.
It's cool. The last time that I was there, they had it set up so there was I think 4 or 5 different sections to the park, and each section was a different, I think, movie theme.
Yeah, there's some cool themes. I think it's like Stranger Things, but I think they're also doing like Trick or Treat.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I think they're doing Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, there's some like weird random ones. I don't know if it's just a small part of it. I don't really know. I'm just trying to go in and just get in and out.
Is that all you're doing, or are you going to Disneyland as well?
We're gonna go to like the Universal, the other stuff, and then Disney too. We're there for like a week, so we should have time to do a bunch of stuff.
That'll be nice. Is that gonna be your first vacation in a long time?
Yeah, well, we wanted to go there for our honeymoon, but at the time, my brother was getting married after our like a few months, and then so she had like the shower to take off. Like, she had her other job, so it was harder. She was using all our vacation days, so we didn't think we were gonna have time until. And so we were just gonna be like, okay, we'll go on our honeymoon like when we get more time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom and dad were like, no, you need to do something. So we just went to like Atlantic City for a few days.
Okay, that's cool.
But she was like, that doesn't count as a vacation. So
you guys never went on an official honeymoon?
Well, I guess that was like that was more fun than I thought. Like Atlantic City. We stayed. I forget what the name of the hotel, but it was gigantic. So there was like multiple restaurants in it. So that was cool. Like it, but yeah, like this will be like, vacation. We never flew somewhere together. I don't even know if she's flown anywhere ever.
Wow.
So
That'll be cool.
Yeah,
that's exciting. That's in a couple weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. So
That's
that'll
cool.
be cool. I think though it's still like 80 degrees there or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that it's as warm as it is here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's nuts for it to be the beginning of October and it still be like hovering between 65 and 70 degrees. That's weird.
Was it that show you just played? Was it warm out then?
Yeah, it was. I think it was like mid 60s down there.
So that'd probably be a good temperature to play in.
Yeah, especially because it was outdoor amphitheater, so it was.
Saw Limp Bizkit Fred Durst got drop kicked or something.
I saw that as well. I didn't see it happen, but I saw everyone talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know what happened. Do you know what happened or no?
I just see, because I still like I was saying before, like, it's really hard to like keep up with like wrestling, but I still have some like Twitter accounts that I follow,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like eating that up because it's like this dude threw a drop kick, so definitely wrestling related. So they just kept posting, but the video of it, like he totally like missed it. I don't know if someone hit him in time so he missed it, but he missed that drop kick. Like he didn't like really look like he came in contact with Fred Durst, but I don't. It's the dude from ICP. I don't know if they don't get along or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that people were talking about it in our group text, and then I guess they were saying that the fight continued backstage. So I don't know if that means a physical fight or if that means just a verbal altercation, or I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even know. Well, I think is Limp Bizkit, are they still together? They just play festivals pretty much.
I think they just play festivals. I don't think that they do proper tours anymore.
Which is, because I don't know, we still listen to Limp Bizkit at the shop once in a while.
Yeah, it was cool. I had mixed feelings about their set that I watched because I'm a big fan of just like I go to see a band, I want to see the band's songs, and that's that. I don't really care about anything else. I just want to see them play. And every single song they played was like a remix of one of their songs. So in about 45 minutes, I watched 4 songs because the whole time was just them just playing other random shit in the middle of songs, and then they'd go back to the chorus or something, and it's just like, dude, I just want to hear the normal songs.
Yeah, let's give me the nookie.
Yeah, keep me rolling. Give me the nookie.
Let's break stuff.
Yeah, and
no,
but it's hard because I know that they've been playing those songs for
like
20 years, so I'm sure that they're sick of playing the same shit, and they just want some sort of just to be wild and creative on stage, which is fine. But if I was a super diehard Limp Bizkit fan, I'd be pissed at that show. I'd be like, dude, I wasted my money to watch them fucking jam for an hour and a half. That's bullshit. But so, yeah, I think taking that note, well, probably something we'll never do. We'll never just jam. So, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. But, all right. Well, I guess we can wrap her up. You want?
I'm cool. Going by fast.
Yeah. Thanks for being a part of this again.
No problem.
So if someone wants to make a tattoo appointment with you, they can. How do they do that?
I'm totally cool with like DMs or email. So like if they went to my Instagram,
okay.
I set it up as like the business thing, so you could get like the email button.
Okay.
So like, but yeah, I check like emails and DMs. Like I'm not like some people won't take DMs and stuff, but I try to manage both. So yeah, just like email me or DM me, and we could set up an appointment. Our shop, and I think it says where our shop is on my page, but people always ask where it's located. So it's in Dickson City, which is like pretty close to Scranton.
Yeah. 10 minutes north or something.
Yeah. So hit me up and we can set up an appointment. Instagram.
Cool.
Thanks.
Sounds good.
I was going to ask, do you get mad when people call you Rick?
No.
Because I was like, what if I say Rick? Because I could have sworn you used to get mad at that.
I think that it bothered me just because it was just, I think everyone said it as an annoyance more than anything else. So, no, everyone still calls me Rick.
Really?
It's weird to me when people I don't know call me Rick.
Oh yeah, I think they should call you Rick.
but yeah, no, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't care. Whatever.
Thanks, Ricky.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next week.